Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, thumma amma ba'd. To proceed. So today, inshallah, we'll talk about the chapter on partnering in murder, or Bab al-Ishtiraki fil Qatl. Imām al-Qudāmah rahimahullah says here, under the chapter on partnering in murder, Bab al-Ishtirak fil Qatl, وتقتل الجماعة بالواحد فإن تعذر قتل أحدهم لأبوته أو عدم مكافأة القتيل له أو العفو عنه قتل شركاؤه قتل شركاؤه وإن كان بعضهم غير مكلف أو خاطئا لم يجب القود على واحد منهم. A group will be killed in retaliation for killing one person if it is not feasible to apply lethal retribution to one of them because of his parental relationship to the victim, the inequality of his status in terms of religion and freedom, or his being pardoned. His partners will still be killed if one of them is not mukallaf, or if one kills in error, then lethal retribution is not binding on any of them. So the idea here that we're trying to talk about is when one person kills another person, we apply equal retribution, and we call it equal retribution, don't we? Equal retribution, qisas. So a nafs bin nafs, like a soul for a soul. That is fair, that is justice. But what about when 10 people kill one person? Do we kill the 10 people? How is this equitable? It is equitable because each one of them committed a capital crime, and we cannot sort out who killed the person. Therefore, all of them would be accountable. When Umar radiallahu anhu, when a woman, where did this come from? So Umar was informed of a woman and her lover killing her stepson along with a servant of them. So a woman was married and her husband left his son with her and traveled. His son, not hers, his son, her stepson. And she had an affair with another man, and she said to the other man, if this kid tells on us, it will be a scandal. So let's kill the kid. And her lover agreed to killing the child. They had the assistance of a servant. Umar was informed of this. And he said, وَاللَّهِ لَوْ تَمَالَأَ عَلَيْهِ أَهْلُ صَنْعَاءَ لَقَتَلْتُهُمْ بِهِ. By Allah, if the entire population of Sana'a colluded to kill him or partnered in murdering him, I would have killed them all. From that time on, partnering in murder does not basically relieve you from being accountable for equal retribution or qisas. Even if each one of them committed an act that was minuscule or minimal, threw like a pebble, but they all agreed to throw pebbles until they kill the person. So all of them, like 1,000 people, each one of them throwing a pebble. So if 1,000 people, each one of them threw a pebble, I'm not sure that this would kill the person, but if it does, then since they colluded, these were not individual acts, there was collusion. Since they colluded, then all of them will be killed. And then he talks about this. And he talks about, what he talks about in the beginning, in the first paragraph here, is what if some of them were not subject to the death penalty? Okay, there are different scenarios. So 10 people, one of them is a child. non-mukallaf, not liable because of young age or because of insanity. One of them, what if one of them killed in error, mistaken killing, not intentional? In these two scenarios, according to the position that is mentioned here, but that's not the position of the majority, but in these two scenarios, the rest of the people will be off the hook, will not be liable for the death penalty. They will be liable for what? Diya, blood money. Can the authorities impose a punishment? We said 200 times, yes, the authorities can impose a punishment. And that's the correct position, and that is the only position that is that has any sort of semblance of practicality here. Yes, the authorities can impose a punishment. But what if it is different? We said if it is non-liable, not mukallaf, or killed in error, then the rest of them, according to this position in Umdat, will not be liable for the death penalty. But they may be liable for some other punishment, according to the stronger position. But what if some of them were not liable for the death because of some other issue? Some other issue, okay, like what? So 10 people killed one person. One of the 10 people was the father of this person, the victim. You can't kill the father for killing their child, according to the majority, Hanafi, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. So you will kill the 9 and spare the father. What if this person was not the father, but this person was a free person and this was a slave, and these 9 were slaves? So you kill the 9 because they're equality, and you spare this one, as we said before. But we said that the Hanafis do not have this requirement of equality, and they would kill the free for the slave and the slave for the free. And the Hanafi madhab was the madhab of the vast majority of Muslim history, Abbasi and Uthmani Khilafas. Okay. Then the Sheikh said, وإن أكره رجل رجلا على القتل فقتل أو جرح أحدهما جرحا والآخر 100 أو قطع أحدهما من الكوع والآخر من المرفق فهما قاتلان وعليهما القصاص وإن وجبت الدية استويا فيها. If a person forces another to kill and he, that other person, does so, or one if a person forces another to kill and he, the other, does so, or one of them inflicts one wound on the victim, whereas the other inflicts 100 wounds, or one of them maims the victim at the wrist, whereas the other maims him at the elbow, they are both considered murderers and are liable for qisas. If indemnity is required, both are equally liable for it. So what is the bottom line here? The bottom line is we don't know who killed him. You know, in the first case where there is compulsion, we will discuss this a little later, where there is compulsion. We will discuss this a little later when we talk about, the commander and the executor. But the other scenarios that he mentioned here are he's basically trying to say, if 2 people inflicted different wounds, one of them is greater than the other, we still don't know. We cannot ascertain the cause of death definitively. Therefore, both of them will be liable for equal retribution. And if they were pardoned, and the diya was demanded from them by the awliya of the victim. They were pardoned and the diya was demanded. They will be equally liable for the diya. The fact that you cut off, just the hand, and the other one cut off the whole arm, or the fact that you inflicted a smaller wound, unless it is completely trivial, like an abrasion or something. But we cannot ascertain who killed him, which wound killed him, you will be equally liable. Then, وإن ذبحه أحدهما ثم قطع الآخر يده أو قده نصفين فالقاتل الأول، وإن قطعه أحدهما ثم ذبحه الثاني قطع القاطع وذبح الذابح. And that's when they said before it's getting too graphic. If one of them slaughters the victim and then the other cuts off his hand or slices him into two halves, the murderer is the first one. If one cuts a part of him off and then the other slaughters him, the one who cuts will be cut in retaliation and the one who slaughters will be slaughtered. So two people now, and this is the victim, and we have two people. One of them, we said if you inflict different types of wounds, you will be equally liable. But what if you slaughter him, and then the second one comes and cut him into two pieces? Who's the murderer? The first one only. Because after slaughtering, the person is going to be dying. The person was slaughtered. So the person is going to be dying. The second act is criminal. Because even if the person had died, tamthil, mutilation of dead bodies, is criminal. So the second act is criminal. But is it punishable by had? No. Or equal retribution? Is it punishable by equal retribution? No. Because the first one is the murderer, not the second. So if the first one cuts off his arm and the second one slaughters him, who is the murderer? The second. So what do we do to the first? We cut off his arm. What do we do to the second? Slaughter him. Okay, that's what he says. فإن أمر من يعلم تحريم القتل به فقتل فالقصاص على المباشر ويؤدب الآمر، وإن أمر من لا يعلم تحريمه به أو لا يميز فالقصاص على الآمر. If one person commands another, who knows the inviolability of the victim, to kill, and thus he kills, then qisas is binding against the one who carries it out. The one who commands it will be punished by a discretionary penalty. If a person commands someone who does not know the victim's inviolability, or someone who is not discerning, then qisas is binding against the one who gave the order. Okay, so let us draw a table here for these different scenarios. I have three different scenarios, and one actually has A and B. So one scenario is you have two people here. You have you have the orderer, the commander, and the executor. The commander and executor. So if the commander has no authority over the executor, this is one scenario. The commander has authority over the executor. That's another scenario. The commander compels the executor. That is the third scenario, compels. Tells him, if you don't kill, I will kill you. And he's able to do it. And he has a gun. Compelling. Okay. So these are three different scenarios. So should we kill none? Should we kill the executor? Should we kill the commander? Or should we kill both, the executor and the commander? So the commander has no authority over the executor and goes and says, X goes and says to Y, kill Z. Y goes and kills Z. Who should be killed? The executor. And that's according to all of them. Should the commander be killed? No. Because there is a difference between al-mutasabbib and al-mubashir, the direct cause and the immediate cause. If the immediate cause is mukallaf, a liable individual, not a tool, not an insane person, not a child, then the immediate cause will absorb the liability. The immediate cause will absorb the liability because the commander did not have authority over him. What if the commander had authority over the executor? Authority, but did not compel him. And we are presuming here that the executor knows that the victim is inviolable. So, X has authority over Y, but does not compel Y. Does not tell him, I'll kill you if you do, no. But then X tells Y, go kill Z. Y goes and kills Z. Who is to be killed here? So Imam Abu Hanifa said, none. When you don't kill, that does not mean that there will not be another form of punishment. And there could be another punishment short of that. No, but he said no equal retribution. Who said the executor only? That's the Shafi'is and Hanbalis. Who said the commander only? Nobody said that. Who said both should be killed? Malikis. The Malikis, by the way, are the harshest in these because they are the ones who want to. You could say, it depends on your perspective. You could say they're the harshest, and someone else you could say that they're most merciful because they want to deter crime, and they want. So the Malikis are the ones who said if a father, if we know for sure that the father killed their son, we will kill the father. But what the Prophet may have meant is that most likely he did not mean to kill him. But if he lays him down and slaughters him, then we know that he wanted to kill him, and then we killed the father for the child. So the Malikis are a little bit stricter here, because they were sort of mostly concerned with deterrence. So if the commander had compelled the executor, the commander compelled the executor, what do we do now? Who's to be killed now? Who would say kill none? No one will say kill none. Who would say kill both? Most of them will say kill both. That is M plus S plus A. Who will say kill the commander only? That is the Imam Abu Hanifa. Kill the commander only. Okay? So that is basically this discussion. Then the Sheikh said, وإن أمسك إنسانا للقتل قتل القاتل وحبس الممسك حتى يموت. If one restrains a person to be killed and that person is killed, the killer will be killed and the restrainer will be imprisoned until he dies. And that is a verbatim hadith. It's questionable whether it's traceable to the Prophet ﷺ, but at least it comes from the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim. So someone restrains another, so that another person would kill him. The person who restrained him will be put in jail forever until they die, because they restrained the victim until he was killed, and the murderer will be killed for equal retribution. And that is basically, al-jaza' min jins al-amal. Like the same what will be done to you is the same as you have done to your brother. And that brings us to the end of this chapter. So it's a smaller chapter, it's a shorter chapter. But the bottom line here is that partnering in murder will not basically relieve people from accountability or whatsoever. Even if they were 1,000 people, they will be all accountable, all subject to equal retribution. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.